Good day, this is Sir Benj. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe in order for you not to miss a video like this. During our last discussion, we have talked about the characteristics of competent intercultural communicators. These are, first, sensitivity and the ability to tolerate high levels of uncertainty. Second, reflectiveness and mindfulness. Third, open-mindedness. Fourth, adaptability. Fifth, sensitivity. And lastly, politeness. Note that in addition to culture, other elements such as age, gender, social status, and religion must also be taken into consideration when communicating with others. Remember that we should refrain from showing bias when talking to someone by following these tips. First, avoid stereotypes. Stereotype, it is a fixed overgeneralized belief about a particular group or class of people. By stereotyping, we infer that a person has a whole range of characteristics and abilities that we assume all members of that group have. In simple words, stereotyping refers to your prior judgment. It's like, meron kang nalaman na negative action or behavior sa isang tao and then generalize mo na lahat ng mga tao of that particular place. For example, in China, diba, I'm pretty sure that you have heard this from the news. There's a certain place there wherein people eat wild animals. But not all Chinese people do that. Okay? And what happens is that they were generalized by most people. Okay? From other countries, even here in the Philippines. People think that Chinese people are dirty because they eat wild animals. Pero again, not all Chinese people do that. And that's the best example of stereotyping, which is not a good attitude that we should possess. Remember that we should not give our judgment if we do not know the person at all, or if we do not know the entire story at all. So remember, avoid stereotyping. Next, do not challenge gender roles. My dear students, let me tell you this. Just because you are a man does not mean you are stronger than the other sex. And just because you are a woman does not mean you are weaker than the other sex. So technically, we are just equal, diba? In the old times, there is really a big gap between men and women, wherein the society before labeled man as superior and women as inferior, wherein women before was being discriminated, like they're not allowed to go to school, they're not allowed to vote, to educate themselves, they're not allowed to look for a job. They were just forced to stay at home to take care of the children and do all the household chores. While men, they were enjoying their lives, diba? They can educate themselves, go to a prestigious universities, run for a public office, and be presidents. I'm pretty sure napapansin nyo naman na karamihan na mga lalaki yung mga presidents during the old times, walang babae. And they can look for a job, diba? So you can see the difference. There's really a big gap between men and women. And good thing, in our generation right now, we can do whatever we want to do, regardless of our gender, regardless of our sexual orientation, whether we are straight, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, plus, we can do whatever we want to do. We love to do, diba? And what I'm trying to say is that we should respect each other's decision. Remember that we should not think that we are above the other gender, because again, men and women are all equal. Again, regardless of your sexual orientation, whether you are a member of LGBT community, we are all equal and should be given equal rights, equal opportunities, and deserve the same level of respect. So, do not challenge gender roles. Third, do not talk down on younger people. One mistake that our culture has is that we have this thinking na you're foolish or stupid just because you are young. I know that some of you have experienced the feeling na halos lahat na lang ng actions mo ay mali. Diba? And you will be scolded by your parents, by your ates, or any person na mas nakakatanda sa'yo. So parang hindi mo na alam kung saan ka lulugar kasi para sa kanila, you're always wrong. Diba? I'm pretty sure that you have experience na na-compare kayo sa ibang tao. Diba? It's like they are controlling your life. Okay? You have been compared by other people. Like, sabihin nila, dapat ganito ka, dapat katulad ka ni ganito, ganito. When you grow older, dapat ganito ang work mo, kagaya ng ganito. And so many expectations na binibigay sa atin. Diba? And really, they are controlling the lives of their children without considering ano ba talaga ang gusto natin. Diba? Which for me, I really do not agree. Just because you are young, you don't know anything about life. I have known many students before. They really do have brilliant minds. However, they are afraid to share it to other people by the fear that the older people will just expect them to fail. And that's the sad part of our reality. Diba? Because sometimes we are surrounded with unsupportive people, which is unhealthy for us. And remember, my dear students, that now it's okay to commit mistakes as long as you learn from it and apply that learning in the future situations. Okay? So, the same goes with you young people, with us young people. We should not talk down on the elderlies. Instead, we have to respect them. Respect our parents, our ates, kuyas, lolo, or if you have a lolo who is really, eager to learn how to operate a smartphone, at apo, tulungan mo naman ako mag-operate ng smartphone na to. And you will said, no, lo, hindi ka na pwede dyan. Napag-iwanan ka ng panahon, hindi ka na marunong yan. No, you should help your lolo. You should help the person regardless of his or her age. Diba? If the person needs help, then provide help. We should not see our age differences as a hindrance in communicating with other people. Remember that. Fourth, be sensitive to the religious practices of others. We have so many religions in the world. And so, our way of worshiping varies. Diba? So, despite of our religious differences, as long as you respect other religion, you're good. You're fine. Okay? Probably for me, God is a man. For others, they do have a different name for God. And for others, they don't believe that God exists. For others, God nila is yung mga objects na nakikita sa surroundings nila. Which is okay. Remember that we are unique individuals and that we are free to believe whatever we want to believe. Okay, we should not compare each other's religious practices. We should not focus on our differences. Instead, we should focus kung saan tayo magkakapareho, in which all of these religious practices promotes hope, love, pro-life, and compassion. Diba? So, if you have a friend who is an INC member, and then you are in a party at tapos ikaw kumakain ng dinuguan, you should be sensitive. Diba? Tapos inalok mo pa yung kaibigan mo na, pre, may dinuguan dito. You should not do that. Diba? We should be sensitive to the religious beliefs of other people. Okay? And lastly, be polite at all times. Do not belittle people you perceive to be in a lower social class than you. My dear students, in our society, we have this concept called social class pyramid, in which this is primarily based on the economic status of a person, the monthly salary of a person. There are three social classes. We have lower class, middle class, and upper class. Now, in lower class, these are people who are working with blue-collar jobs. Like they're earning a monthly salary of 10,000 pesos below. All right? These are janitors, these are construction workers, and so on and so forth. Now, in middle class, these are people who are earning amounting 15,000 pesos to 140,000 a month. These are professionals like teachers, doctors, lawyers, engineers. And yung pinakataas sa pyramid is what we call the upper class. These are influential people. These are people who are earning a monthly salary of 140,000 above. Like President of the Philippines, business tycoons, Henry C. Ayala, diba? At marami pa yung examples. So what I'm trying to say here is that despite of our social classes, whether you are rich or poor, dapat hindi natin tinitingnan yon para makipag-communicate sa ibang tao. We should see each other as equal human beings. It should never be a hindrance in communicating with one another. Remember na hindi dapat tayo nang mamata ng kapwa natin. Hindi dapat natin minamaliit yung mga mas may hirap pa sa atin. Instead, we help them, communicate with them. Now, before we end this conversation, I just want to share this quotation to you guys. To effectively communicate, we must realize that we are all different in the way we perceive the world and use this understanding as a guide to our communication with others. And that is according to Tony Robbins. I want you to ponder this thought and analyze the moral lesson of this and apply all the learnings that we have during our discussion with regards to our lesson number 5, Intercultural Communication. And we must remember that we are all different individuals, and regardless of our differences, dapat we should see each other as equal human beings, and that we should communicate each other equally and should not be biased. Okay? So that's it for this video lesson. Hope you learned something today. And don't forget, take the quiz that's posted in your Google Classroom. Goodbye everyone, happy learning, and see you all again next time. Ingat!